Hey everyone, hope you are doing well today. I'm making this video for a couple of reasons. One is to remind you that tomorrow, you would technically have the day off of school, if we were there. So that means all the online. It's like you still have the day off. So no teacher should be doing any Zoom meetings. And obviously, if you want to do your work, do your work. But trying to contact me, I probably won't be available. If it's something very quick and easy, I'll be able to respond for you. But if you have any bigger questions, you should take care of that today, especially during office hours. My office hours today are from 12 to 3. Um, so make sure if your questions are kind of big and need a lot of explaining, you come to office hours today. So that's one. That's the first reason I'm making this video. Another one is also to remind you that the assignment, the first assignment for this week was to attend office hours and then fill out the survey. A lot of you filled out the survey without attending office hours, which makes me feel like you're not following directions or paying attention to what I'm writing out. So the point is that we meet for office hours and then you go, fill out the survey for me. Obviously, I'm keeping track of who I'm meeting in office hours. So you're not, if you filled out the survey without meeting me in office hours or at least sending me an email saying you can't make office hours or whatever it is, if you've had some contact with me this week, I'm counting that. But if you have not and you just filled out the survey, then you won't receive credit for this. So you're not following directions. So, all right. And then one last thing I'm going to do with this video is the short story I'm having you guys read. I'm going to read it to you guys because I don't have much to do today. And I feel like this might help you out if you guys are struggling to focus on reading and you just need, you need to hear it. So yeah, I will also share my screen so that you guys can see it as I'm reading it. So let's see here. There we go. All right. The Golden Kite, The Silver Wind by Ray Bradbury. In the shape of a pig, cried the mandarin. In the shape of a pig, said the messenger, and departed. Oh, what an evil day in an evil year, cried the mandarin. The town Quanxi beyond the hill was very small in my childhood. Now it has grown so large that at last they are building a wall. But why would a wall 2 miles away make my good father sad and angry all within the hour? Asked his daughter quietly. They build their wall, said the mandarin, in the shape of a pig. Do you see? Our own city wall is built in the shape of an orange. Thy pig will devour us greedily. They both sat thinking. Life was full of symbols and omens. Demons lurked everywhere. Death swarmed in the wetness of an eye. The turn of the gull's wing meant rain. A fan held so. The tilt of a roof, and yes, even a city wall was of immense importance. Travelers and tourists, caravans, musicians, artists coming upon these two towns, equally judging the importance, would say, the city shaped like an orange. No, I will not enter the city shaped like a pig and prosper, eating all, growing fat with good luck and prosperity. The mandarin wept. All is lost. These symbols and signs terrify. Our city will come on evil days. Then said the daughter, call in your stonemasons and temple builders. I will whisper from behind the silken screen, and you will know the words. The man clapped his hands despairingly. Ho, stonemasons! Ho, builders of towns and palaces! The men who knew marble and granite and onyx and quartz came quickly. The mandarin faced them most uneasily, himself waiting for a whisper from the silken screen behind his throne. At last the whisper came. I have called you here, said the whisper. I have called you here, said the Mandarin aloud, because our city is shaped like an orange, and the vile city of Quanxi has this day shaped theirs like a ravenous pig. Here the stone's masons groaned and wept. Death rattled his cane in the other courtyard. Poverty made a sound like a wet cough in the shadows of the room. And so, said the Mandarin, you raisers of walls must go bearing trowels and rocks and change the shape of our city. The architects and masons gasped. The Mandarin himself gasped at what he had said. The whisperer whispered. The Mandarin went on. And you will change our walls into a club, which may beat the pig and drive it off. The stone's masons rose up shouting. Even the Mandarin, delighted the words from his mouth, applauded, stood down from his throne. Quick, he cried, to work. When his men had gone smiling and bustling, the Mandarin turned with great love to the silken screen. Daughter, he whispered, I will embrace you. There was no reply. He stepped around the screen and she was gone. Such modesty, he thought, she had slipped away and left me with a triumph as if it were mine. The news spread through the city. The Mandarin was acclaimed. Everyone carried stone to the walls. Fireworks were set off, and demons of death and poverty did not linger as all worked together. At the end of the month, the wall had been changed. It was now a mighty bludgeon with which to drive pigs, boars, even lions far away. The Mandarin slept like a happy fox every night. I would like to see the Mandarin of Quanxi when the news is learned. Such pandemonium and hysteria, he will likely throw himself from a mountain. A little more of that wine, oh daughter who thinks like a son. But the pleasure was like a winter flower. It died swiftly. That very afternoon, the messenger rushed into the courtroom. Oh, Mandarin, disease, early sorrow, avalanches, grasshopper plagues, and poisoned well water. The Mandarin trembled. The town of Quanxi, said the messenger, which was built like a pig, and which animal we drove away by changing our walls to a mighty stick, has now turned triumph to winter ashes. They have built their city's wall like a great bonfire to burn our stick. The Mandarin's heart sickened within him, like an autumn fruit upon an ancient tree. O gods, travelers will spurn us. Tradesmen, reading the symbols, will turn from the stick so easily destroyed to the fire which conquers all. No, said a whisper like a snowflake from behind the silken screen. No, said the startled Mandarin. Tell my stones masons, said the whisper that was a falling drop of rain, to build our walls in the shape of a shining lake. The Mandarin said this aloud. His heart warmed. And with this lake of water, said the whisperer and the old man, we will quench the fire and put it out forever. The city turned out in joy to learn that once again they had been saved by the magnificent emperor of ideas. They ran to the walls and built them near this new vision, singing not as loudly as before, of course, for they were tired, and not as quickly, for since it had taken a month to build the wall the first time. They had to neglect business and crops, and therefore were somewhat weaker and poorer. There then followed a succession of horrible and wonderful days, one in another like a nest of frightening boxes. "O Emperor," cried the messenger, "Quanxi has rebuilt their walls to resemble a mouth, which will drink all our lake." Then said the Emperor, standing very close to his silken screen, "Build our walls like a needle to sew up the mouth." Emperor screamed the message. "Emperor," screamed the messenger, "they make their walls like a sword to break the needle." The emperor held trembling to the silken screen, then shipped the stones to form a scabbard to sheath the sword. "Mercy," wept the messenger the following morn. "They have worked all night and shaped their walls like lightning, which will explode and destroy the sheath." Sickness spread in the city like a pack of evil dogs. Shops closed. The population working now steadily for endless months upon the changing of the walls resembled Death himself, clattering his white bones like musical instruments in the wind. Funerals began to appear in the streets, though it was the middle of the summer, a time when we should all be tending and harvesting. The mandarin fell so ill that he had his bed drawn up like by the silken screen, and there he lay, miserably giving his architectural orders. The voice behind the screen was weak now too, and faint, like the wind in the eaves. Quan Si is an eagle. Then our walls must be a net for that eagle. They are a sun to burn our net. Then we build a moon to eclipse their sun. Like a rusted machine, the city ground to a halt, and at last the whisper behind the screen cried out, "In the name of God, send for Quan Si." Upon the last day of the summer, the Mandarin Quan Si, the upon the last day of summer, the Mandarin Quan Si, very ill, withered away, was carried into our Mandarin's courtroom by 4 starving footmen. The 2 mandarins were propped up facing each other. Their breasts fluttered like winter winds in their mouths. A voice said, "Let us put an end to this." The old man nodded. "This cannot go on," said the faint voice. "Our people do nothing but rebuild our cities to a different shape every day, every hour. They have no time to hunt, to fish, to love, to be good to their ancestors and their ancestors' children." "This I admit," said the mandarins of the town of the cage, the moon, the spear, the fire, the sword, and that, other things. "Carry us into the sunlight," said the voice. The old men were borne out under the sun and up a little hill. In late summer breeze, a few very thin children were flying dragon kites in all the colors of the sun, and frogs and grass, the color of the sea, and the color of coins and wheat. The first mandarin's daughter stood by his bed. "See," she said, "those are nothing but kites," said the 2 old men. "But what is a kite on the ground?" she said. "It is nothing. What does it need to sustain it and make it beautiful and truly spiritual?" "The wind, of course," said the others. "And what do the sky and the wind need to make them beautiful?" "A kite, of course. Many kites to break the monotony, the sameness of the sky. Colored kites flying." "So," said the mandarin's daughter, "you, Quan Si, will make a last rebuilding of your town to resemble nothing more nor less than the wind. And we shall build like a golden kite. This wind will beautify the kite and carry it to the wondrous heights. And the kite will break the sameness of the wind's existence and give it purpose and meaning. One without the other is nothing together. All will be beauty and cooperation and a long and enduring life." Whereupon the 2 mandarins were so overjoyed that they took their first nourishment in days. Momentarily were given strength, embraced and lavished praise upon each other. Called the mandarin's daughter a boy, a man, a stone pillar, a warrior, and true and unforgettable son. Almost immediately they parted and hurried to their towns, calling out, singing, weakly but happily. And so in time the towns became the town of the golden kite and the town of the silver wind. And harvestings were harvested, and business tended again, and the flesh returned, and disease ran off like a frightened jackal. And on every night of the year, the inhabitants in the town of the kite could hear the good, clear wind sustaining them. And those in the town of the wind could hear the kite singing, whispering, rising, and beautifying them. "So be it," said the mandarin in front of his silken screen. All right. I hope that helps some of you guys. Once again, there's nothing planned for tomorrow. Have a good weekend, and remember, all assignments are due on Sunday. Please send me an email if you need a little bit more time. Have a good weekend. Bye.